Welcome to Nerds Explain It All. I'm Zach.
And I'm Nancy.
And this week it's just going to be me and Nancy talking about the X-Files. Man, yeah, it's a good show. Good show. Watched the X-Files for a long time when I was a kid. Not as much as you. You know, I was more of a casual viewer. Me and my dad used to watch it on occasion, so I've probably watched about 30% of the X-Files. Now, you, on the other hand, huge X-Files fan. You were probably the foremost authority on the X-Files and people I know in real life.
That's probably true. Plus, like, I kind of perked up a little bit when you said that, even though that is like a ridiculous compliment.
Well, the whole reason we're talking about the X-Files is breaking news. Breaking news, people. X-Files is coming back. 6 episodes, miniseries, David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson, Chris Carter.
The trifecta.
Yes, the troika, the trinity of the X-Files is coming back. Now, Nancy, initial thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think I'm very excited, of course, to hear the news. I was kind of expecting it. There had been rumors for several months now that there possibly was something going on. And like conventions that Duchovny or Anderson or even Chris Carter turned up at, they all always said, well, as long as the other two are in, I'm in. So it was obvious that like they didn't have to convince each other. They had to convince Fox, who owns it. So
is this, speaking of Fox now, I don't believe it said where these would be broadcast or exist.
That has been I noticed that too. Mm-hmm. That's not anywhere.
Now I'm thinking, you know how they'd be like 24 one more day or something. Like I'm thinking they might make it like an event on Fox itself.
They would be stupid
Fox.
Not to capitalize on that.
Come on, right? I mean, they need Fox is always fourth in the ratings and
big time.
They could really use an event like that to get people back. Now, the impression I get is that this is a one-off thing. Like they're coming back. They're doing 6 stories. I assume they'll be an hour long. You know, it'd be cool if they did like a Sherlock.
I really hope they are. Yes, I totally agree.
They damn well better be at least an hour time slot. I mean, you can't.
I'm sure they will. They might be a little bit longer. I'm not sure. We don't have too much.
Yeah, there's really no
Chris Carter
information.
Said they didn't have any scripts yet.
Mm-hmm. No scripts yet.
Nope.
We've had years to work on this.
Well, I think he's just saying that. I think they do have, but then he talks about having 6 stories to tell. So I don't know if they're going to be related. I have a lot of questions. I don't.
Well, so what would you want to see?
Okay, well, in an ideal world, see, I'm one of those X-Files fans that thinks the series should have ended after season 7. Because, you know what?
And I feel the same way about The Office.
Too bad. Spoilers. Mulder gets abducted. It makes sense because, I mean, they're back in the same town in Oregon that the first episode is set in. I mean, it had this nice cyclical kind of thing. What is the one thing that's eluded Mulder for so long? Actual contact, when he was conscious.
Close Encounters of the
with
Fourth
the aliens. Kind. Right. So... It just made sense to me. I was sad, but it made sense. Well, it was a good ending, I thought.
Now, as I understand it, they wrote it kind of where it could be the
yes,
finale.
Because they didn't know. Yes.
Well, the whole like you said, they set up oh wait, we're back to the pilot and all that stuff. So that gives signs this is it. We're going back to where we started. A lot of series finales do that.
I mean, they even tied up what actually happened to Samantha. After a lot of false starts and a lot of chain yanking and BS, they legitimately put that issue to rest.
And it was the serial killer, right? Who buried her in the woods or something?
Well, yes, but I mean, eventually just figured out she was a walk-in, and he did discover her. Yeah, well, because Paper Hearts is the episode where he really thinks that it's her.
Well, it's very but then she melts and turns into a clone, right? Isn't that the one?
Well, you're getting them confused.
See,
but
there's
yes,
so
that
many.
Also happens.
See, I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of the X-Files you do, by any means. But I do remember there were several episodes where
those are her
we
clones.
Thought we found Mulder's sister.
Those are her clones. Well, it is her. It's just clones. It's not actually the little girl that was abducted.
Yeah, an older clone and all that. Right? Okay, so that's some crazy stuff. But I actually liked how the actual explanation was very mundane.
Yes, I did too.
That's very good storytelling. I think.
I absolutely agree.
I mean, how do you top if it is aliens, you're not going to be satisfied. And if it's something else, you're just going to be disappointed. So let's just make it as earthbound and boring as possible. So you put the whole guy's life mission was based off of false pretenses, Uh,
Which is kind of, I mean, that's kind of the theme of the show, a theme of the show to begin with. Like, well, if everything else is a lie, then what,
well, the truth is out there, Nancy.
right there you go.
Well, so okay, so we got kind of off track there. So yeah, so you think it should
Okay.
end at season
So
7?
yes, I thought that was a good ending. I know that I tried to make it. I think I don't really I don't really recall this, but I know I watched season 8 and I refused to watch season 9. So
Really?
actually, I'm
Wow.
doing that right now.
You never
I'm
watched season 9?
Nope, never
Wow.
saw it.
Well, no, no,
I
no. I don't want to cut you off, but Lance and I took a similar approach when The Office ended, as I briefly mentioned before.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
Michael Scott left.
yep. I
But
didn't
see,
watch after that either.
I give NBC credit. They were sneaky. They were like, "Oh, we're not going to let him leave at the end of the season because then people will naturally stop watching. We're going to have him leave a few episodes before season 7 ends. So people will finish out the season and get used to the show without Steve Carell and be like, hey, this isn't so bad. I'm going to keep watching. But no,
Right.
Lance and I were smart. The last episode Michael Scott was on, we stopped watching immediately, and so there was like 5 episodes of season 7, all of 8, and all of 9. And I think Lance ended up watching this series finale. I think, yeah, I mean, like when there's a show like that. I mean, yes, the Office is an ensemble cast.
Yeah,
It's about Steve Carell. 7 years. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, 7 years is great. It's a great run. But
Right.
we got to just milk. I mean, NBC desperate for programming, so they just milked it for all it was worth. But so yeah, we stopped. So I totally hear you. Like, I'm sure one day I'll go back and see how it finished out or whatever. But
Well, I
I'm
feel
right
like I
there with
have
you on
to
that. Yeah, especially now. I mean, with the
I have meant to, and I was watching earlier, like last year, like in the fall, like when I was, like preserving like fruit or canning or doing something in the kitchen that was meat that like took forever. Like I had my laptop on the kitchen cart, like, and I was going methodically through the seasons, like working my way back through and revisiting them. It's like greeting an old friend, and I don't care how cheesy that is.
Oh,
Like
I understand. I mean, I've been
love
revisiting.
this show, right?
I've been revisiting
Exactly.
Star Trek Next Generation on Blu-ray, so it's
So
much
good.
the same way. So yeah.
Now, I finished season 5.
Mhm.
Watched the first film, which of course is amazing. Then
Yeah, I bet
started.
a lot of people don't realize it when they go back to rewatch the X Files. They're like, where do I watch the movies? Like, where do they fall in?
Duh.
In between. That was a very like in the '90s. That's a radical concept to have a show and then have a movie and then go back to a show.
Right, and
Did the X Files movie do well? Like at the theaters? Like, do you know?
I'm pretty sure it did. I mean, obviously not. I want to believe, but Fight the Future definitely. I'm pretty sure it did well.
I barely
Or
remember.
decent, I would say. I don't think it flopped.
I remember the running from like the bees and like the
Yes.
greenhouses, and then I
So-
remember them like it's some archaeological dig at the end, and then
Yep.
they reopen the X Files. That's like the only 3 things I remember. of Fight the Future, to be honest. Like,
Well, those were all good ones.
well,
Those were all
well,
important.
was it good? Like, I remember it was just kind of like people were like, "Oh, okay, it was just like another episode."
Well, let's see. X Files. Let's see. Fight the Future. So, IMDb got a 6.9 out of
Ooh.
10. Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic were around 60%. But I guarantee you, like, just normal people, user ratings is probably like in the 90s. Because, I mean, I think it did a good job of taking the stuff, like extrapolating what was going on in the 5th season with the black oil, the bees, like all that business that had been alluded to. And then they kind of just, made it one long case episode. And then, of course, when he rescues her from the ship, like all of that, oh, the shippers went wild. I went wild. It was exciting.
Oh, I remember that. I remember
yeah.
now that you
Good
mention
stuff.
that. So
Good
so
stuff.
that was in between 5 and 6.
Yes.
Okay, and then they came back for a couple more years, and then Mulder left, and then they,
Right.
So did you ever watch the finale of the show?
Nope.
You never watched the finale of the show?
Nope.
You know what? To be honest, I didn't either. My dad told me kind of what happened. But
See, I think it was kind of like Star Wars, although not really, because X-Files hadn't hurt me. Was pissed off. For me, like, I think I did not like how they were introducing Doggett and Reyes as like oh look, it's another pair. See, you won't miss Mulder and Scully. We're replacing them with these people. You can watch them solve mysteries. And it's like, no, you fundamentally do not understand why the show is popular. Like,
yeah, it's not popular because, well, I mean, yes, it's
it
a
is,
genre show, so you're
but-
interested in the genre, but you want to experience the genre through those characters.
yes.
And especially 7 years in. I mean, it's not like we switching people in the 2nd or 3rd season. The show's finding its footing. It's like,
Agreed.
no, we're in for the long run here. Like did you? I always ask you this, and I'm sorry. Did you watch Fringe?
Okay, so we watched the first season of Fringe and
Hmm.
we loved it. It was just one of those shows where we kept not being able to watch it for
Hmm.
ridiculous life reasons and we
Yeah,
never went back to finish it. But I've kept telling Travis, my husband, every episode, I'm like, oh my God, this is like the X-Files.
it
This is
really
like
is.
an
Yeah.
homage to the X-Files. Oh my God.
Well, I initially thought it was an X-Files ripoff, and I was like, "What is this?" Oh,
Yeah.
it's just not aliens; it's alternate dimensions.
But it kind of
But
becomes its own thing,
yes, it
right?
does. It really
Okay.
finds its identity, and I like unlike the X-Files, it kind of told a complete story and a very satisfying conclusion, which is
Really?
very
That
rare.
is rare, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fourth season. Well, as always, it's on Fox. It's a genre show. They didn't know if they're going to get canceled or not a lot. So
Yeah.
some they made some story decisions here or there they probably wouldn't make if they knew like they had 5 years to work with. But they ended up having a shortened fifth season they returned for, and it was kind of a completely different thing than the rest of the show, but it still all made sense and tied together, and everything really came full circle, and I was very satisfied. So,
Wow.
like, if
Okay,
like
I need to watch that.
yeah, you would love it. You would love it. And it's unfortunate, like it's like they learned from the X-Files mistakes, and also
Yes.
none of the cast wanted to leave. They actually liked
Yeah.
their job.
Well,
What do you feel about what? I mean, do you feel like offended that the company wanted to leave? I mean, how do you?
no, I
Yeah.
totally understand because I think my understanding is that he also agreed that that was like the end of Mulder's story. Like that's where the viewers get off.
Right.
You imagine all you want what happens afterwards, but that's all we
And
get to
those
see.
are the best endings because the over-explained endings are always terrible. I don't want you
Right.
to say
Well,
that.
I
Yeah.
figured that's where it was going. Then I just got irritated that it was turning into just all these episodes without the characters that I loved, and like I still love them, in the way that we nerds like overlove things.
Mhm.
But I mean, I can't even really put into words how much I was like into it back then.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It felt like a betrayal.
So you have
I'm so dramatic. Everything was a betrayal.
you have yet to finish season 9, so you don't know.
No, I don't have any recollection of season 8. I
Mhm.
know I watched it because Lord knows probably my live journal at the time bitched and complained
Oh,
about it.
I remember
But
distinctly watching a lot of it with my dad. Like it was like, well, the T-1000, and they had Jane Lynch was in an episode, and it was
I kind of remember.
it was eerily very much like a Smallville episode that came out that same year because Smallville had just started when season 8 of X-Files was on.
Yeah.
Some weird overlap in all these shows,
I
but
think I just purposefully forgot
yeah,
because I didn't want it to affect how I already felt about the show previously with the ending, etc.,
Mhm.
etc.
Well, I was never a regular watcher. Like like I would always
Yeah.
like kind of fade in, fade out of stuff. So
Mhm.
like, and then like when it wasn't really as good anymore, I was like, well, I'm certainly not going to watch it now. So, but I know what happened.
But
So
I need to see it. I owe it to myself to at least see what they do with it. Well, so that was kind of interesting, right? Because then when the second film came out,
yeah, it's years later,
yeah,
and people
right.
are like, well, oh, X-Files is a thing. Like, like I don't know why
and all
they
the
decided.
fans are like,
yeah.
I feel like we just came out of the woodwork.
And
Nobody knew we still existed.
so explain this. So, okay, spoiler, right, for the X-Files. The Scully's kid is Mulder's. Okay.
Yeah, William.
Where's that kid in like the X-Files? Because okay, I've never seen I Want to Believe. I haven't seen the second X-Files movie.
Ugh, I've only seen it once.
Is
It
Mulder
was
like
not
in
very good.
hiding or what? Where is he? Like, 'cause
So
she has
from
to
what I
go get him or
remember,
something, right?
They have like, yeah, she had to go dig him up or something.
Is he like evading child support? I mean, where is he? Like,
No, I think he was evading the government, but I think they like give him I think they oh darn it. I'm sorry. I'm losing all my words tonight. Well, they give him some kind of like I think they take away he was living on the lam and they finally I guess exonerated him.
okay.
I don't really remember, but then there was like Frankenstein experiments with heads and I don't know.
It was like Billy Connolly, and he thought he was an angel, but really a demon or something like that, right? I mean, it was
Oh yeah,
one of those classic like twists of
You know what actually happened is we went to go see I Want to Believe, and I was like, oh, it's just mediocre to not the best.
Mhm.
But I enjoy seeing Mulder and Scully, so like I'll watch it. And then I think I went home and immediately watched like Fight the Future.
yeah, wow.
Like, oh my gosh.
Well, and then that huge missed opportunity to not do a third movie in 2012.
Oh, big time.
But
I
mean,
totally agree.
that's
I
what
think
it was
they were
all
busy,
building
though.
towards. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Well, anyway, so what
Well,
happened? What happened
so-
to the kid? Because that's a huge thing to address. Like,
I honestly do not.
because
And
the
this
kid
makes
would
me
be
sound like. I honestly don't remember. Like I was so interested in preserving like my
Well, I mean,
My
it's crazy.
vision of the show.
I think
I
that's
don't really remember what happens with the kid. I
well, the
know
kid's
that.
gonna be like he's got to be like a teenager now, so you have to address that. He's gonna be
See,
off at boarding school or some
okay,
bullshit, right? Or he gets
so
abducted by aliens. I don't know.
so if we bring it back to like what I want to see,
Yeah, sorry, we're getting completely sidetracked. But go ahead.
that's okay. We do that. So what I want to see from this season,
It's time travel that erases seasons 8 and 9.
oh, I can't do that because what if that got somebody into the show?
Sure,
I
know.
can't.
No,
I can't erase what I
sick
don't
of
like.
that. I'm sick of that. Too many franchises are doing that. Then you just accept the canon and make the best. I think I admire people like Bryan Singer, right? The Bryan Singer X-Men. You embrace all of the canon
Just
and you
lump
figure
it.
out how to make it work. And I admire
Yes.
that more than be like, hey, let's just reboot it. Let's just ignore it.
I agree.
You know, it's like
Totally.
really make it work, man. Anyway, cutting you off. What do you want to see, Nancy?
So what I want to see is I don't think they're going to do this. Just kind of based on like the various. I looked at like 8 different articles about the same news, and some of them had tidbits that were not in the other ones. So what I would like to see is for these 6 episodes to be like in a standalone, almost like alternate universe type thing. It's not an alternate universe, but there are just details that are not given to us so that they can kind of fit in whenever you want to watch them, but obviously after season 7 in some way. I don't know how they're going to fit with the movies. I mean, I don't know. I'm concerned that things that I
You just
did
want
not like
X-Files
are going to
adventures.
be. Yes, I'm concerned that things I don't like, carryovers from the seasons, William for one of them, the kid, like will be in these episodes,
All right.
and it'll be too slice of life instead of like it's an investigation and these two are partners and blah blah blah. Because that's what I liked about it.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Well,
I
you
would
know-
like for them to be standalone, but at the same time, I don't think they can be.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see where they set it, though. What is the setting? I think that's probably everyone's number one question because there's so many weird continuity, like not errors,
Now
but
there's
black
a
holes.
comic book, and I believe that Chris Carter said that's canon.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's on my list of things to read.
I have no knowledge of what it does or
I
who's
feel
in
like
it or
Lance
anything.
told me about that. He said it. I
Yeah,
think.
it's IDW, I believe.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I need to go. I need to go check that out.
now
Really? Well, what happens in that?
I have no idea, so I shouldn't even brought it up. But no, but I seriously doubt they're gonna abide by like if there's a story they want to tell and it contradicts the comic book, they don't care. You know, like the
Totally. Yeah.
IDW Star Trek comic book, right?
Yeah.
It's canon as far as like they don't make a new decision in the movies and contradict it. So, like it's canon for now, but I don't know. Like I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm sure once you finish season 9, you know, go read X-Files season 10 from IDW, see what they have to say.
Right.
But see, introducing the whole kid though. I mean, I don't like that. Like that's
Well, that's why it was the best because they had kind of I mean, like you could kind of extrapolate from there that that's what was happening. Like there's that scene in the season 7 finale where like they obviously now, of course, you figured they'd been kind of sleeping together, maybe on and off.
see.
Beforehand.
I don't think that's
But
fair.
you-
I don't think
but
that's
you'd never
fair to the audience
seen
though.
them. You'd
Because-
never seen them do it, but then that's why I liked that episode so much because it sort of like confirmed, like they shared a hotel room. Again, you didn't really see anything, but it confirmed. I think they just confirmed things without like reaching out and beating the audience on the head with the hammer.
Well, but still, I find that disingenuous and like not like unfair to the audience, right? It's like, hey, this is all going on behind the scenes, and you never knew, but she's pregnant with his baby. It's like, really, that's a whole like part
It's
of their
kinda
lives
like-
that you want to see, you know? Like, I mean, they wanted to avoid the whole trap, the moonlighting trap, you know, or Lois and Clark, right?
Sure.
But still, that's kind of like, oh, you didn't know they were in love and they had this kid. Like, really? That's
I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious they were in love from like the beginning. She fell for him first, but I don't know. I think that's why the relationship is so great. Is because they obviously care for each other a great deal, but it grew out of that like mutual respect and admiration for the other person.
where do
and
you
not-
want their relationship to be, though? In these...
Well, that's kind of the thing. Like
I mean, if they don't get married, it's kind of tragic. You know, I mean, they have a kid, they're in love. It's like, no,
well, I mean, okay, if we're coming after the second film where they pardoned pardon. Wow, I really couldn't think of that
Yeah.
word. I need to drink less caffeine.
Exonerated.
Whatever. Okay, if it's coming after the second movie and they've pardoned him, then and she's gone back to her medical career, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure wouldn't they just live together? But see, that's kind of the thing is when they were partners, you didn't have to worry about like a baby to take
Yeah.
care of or anything like that. You could just run off and spend like a week in a shitty motel in backwater America
Mhm.
looking for whatever, and you didn't have to worry about other things. So it's kind of I don't know what they're gonna
It
do.
changes the whole dynamic,
It does. I'm
and
really
especially if they're
hoping
not
that
on
like
assignment. Like, what are they just going to do it themselves? Like, and they need to address the whole fact because I believe 2012, like I mentioned before, I believe that really was supposed to be the alien
yes.
invasion, right?
Yep.
And it was fine because it was the 90s and that was always the future. But now they're going to need to reference that in some form or fashion.
Well, I wonder. See, that's why I kept hoping that it would be sort of like a. It would be great if it was just standalone episodes and they are just on like. There's no
No explanation.
lore. There's no. Yes,
They're just
just
they
they're
go.
just in
Skinner
the office.
Skinner's there. He gives them an assignment. They go do it.
Off they go. I would be happy with that.
I really want Mitch Pileggi to come back.
Oh my god, me too.
I assume he didn't die or anything in the finale. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think Cigarette Smoking Man did die in the finale.
Yeah, he did. William B. Davis. I think he did die.
He was the mayor of Smallville for a couple episodes.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Is the mayor of Smallville corrupt?
Yes, he was. Yeah,
Explains
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
If Smallville were a better show, they would have utilized him in more than just 2 episodes. But so be it. But the X-Files was really the great thing about the X-Files was it was the perfect balance of episodic and like mythology storytelling. I think it's the template for a lot of TV shows today. Because you can go back and you can watch individual episodes and enjoy them, like self-contained.
Yes.
And then you look at shows today, like you look at a show like Heroes or something. You can't watch an hour of that. This makes no sense. Like, other than like maybe 5 Years Gone or an episode like that. Or The Company Man. Their strongest episodes are self-contained. And that's something to be said. To be honest, like when you're this universe building and all these movies and TV shows, they're so preoccupied with like making this bigger mythology that they forget to tell a self-contained story that stands on its own.
Right. Well, again, that's the hope for these episodes.
So I would hope that the 6 of them, like they're self-contained, but they all tie together in some big way, kind of like Agent Carter.
Yes, I was thinking that too.
I mean, Agent Carter wasn't quite. Still one episode led to another, and there was a theme, but they all kind of had their own little adventure in it and stuff like that. So that should be the template for something like this, I would hope.
I agree. I'm also a little like. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little apprehensive. But
it's already been ruined for you, right? So what's the harm at this point?
No, it wasn't ruined for me because I stopped watching.
Well,
no. Like I went to great lengths to not read or do. Of course, by that time I had collected all of the books and behind the scenes, like all the novels, all the crap. But then once they started coming out with like stuff that had Doggett and Reyes, I was like, no, I would have burned it. Someone had given it to me. But I don't know. I think I just got to stick with my first blush thought when I saw that it had like been officially greenlit. It was like, okay, make them good, make them count. This is all you're gonna get, probably.
Yeah. I mean,
it's really all you should get.
If it's successful, though, they might want to do it again. It's the
but
a victim of its own success. I mean, what is the Covenant doing? Is Californication still a show? Is that still on?
Is it?
It feels like it's like one of those shows that, like with like The Sopranos, like it'd be around and then it wouldn't, and I don't really know. So
yeah, no, he's what is he doing? He's got he had a miniseries. Hold on, called Aquarius. It begins this summer on NBC.
Okay.
He doesn't have any commitments to anything other than Californication ended last year.
Okay.
So
okay. I knew it had been going on for a long time. So that and then Gillian Anderson had Hannibal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, The Fall. Have you seen The Fall?
Is that her show? Is that her new show?
Yes.
Okay. No, I have not seen it.
On BBC Two. Oh my gosh.
Now she's British, isn't she?
Yes.
Interesting. So like her real speaking voice is British.
Yes, she's even more lovely. Yeah. I actually think from what I've heard and with all the interviews, like I think Gillian Anderson wanted to return the most.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Um,
she didn't quit like the Governor did. So,
yeah, what happened with
I,
him?
do you wish she would have quit too? Because if she would have quit too, then they wouldn't have continued. After season 7. So think about that. Huh?
I know,
I
but
know it's tough.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Hey, you're
I'm
talking to a
gonna
guy
have
who
to
watched
watch
10
the
years
damn
of
episodes.
Smallville. Okay, like
I know.
I
Oh
mean,
my
Tom
God.
Welling. If Tom Welling would have left, they would have ended the show. But he kept renewing a contract. But he also, you know what? And I understand why he did it too, because he's like, hey, look. He actually says in the interview, and he does have a point. He's like, look, if I didn't come back, it's not just my job. There's people like there's writers, producers, crew people. Like everyone loses their job if the show ends. So I'm like
That's
that.
true.
That's an interesting point of view to take.
That's really true.
I'm
That's
sure
a
the
good
steady
Superman
paycheck
thing.
didn't hurt either. But
Yes.
Smallville, I'm fine with the Superman show lasting 10 years. I'm just not fine with a show that cannot talk about Superman because it's before Superman lasting for 10 years. That's the problem. That's the
Yeah.
problem there. So I mean, if a show like the X-Files could theoretically go on forever, but
That's
at the
very
same
true.
time, how many? I mean, you're going to run out of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of filler. In the '90s model of television. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
Oh, yes.
26 episodes back then. I know this because of Star Trek. 26
Yeah,
episodes.
it was a lot.
I mean, I'm saying 13. Just do 13 episodes and you're set. You can. I think 8, like Agent Carter's a little too short, but I mean that's a miniseries. It's supposed to be a miniseries.
right.
But I think every show. I mean, do it the British way. 13 episodes and a Christmas special.
I
And
agree.
you're good to go, because you're gonna run the show into the ground. I mean, because you can't rotate out the characters. They tried that, and that was unsuccessful. And then
Right.
the lone gunman didn't they die? Like didn't they
No.
get? No, I'm pretty sure they got blown up or something. Or
In Millennium?
not Millennium. I
Sorry,
think
not Millennium.
their own show
Yeah, their own show. Sorry,
that-
that's what I meant.
that predicted 9/11. Apparently, creepy.
Oh, Lord.
Um,
Oh, God. Yeah, I remember seeing
I
that.
know. That was all people talking like, hey, this was predicted by the.
Oh,
that
and then
show
they're
is
like,
more
oh, Chris
famous for
Carter's a
that.
terrorist.
It's Al Qaeda.
Okay.
So, no, I think they all
Are
died.
they? See, you'll see. Obviously, I have big holes in like my X Files knowledge in general. If it didn't jive with the end of season 7, now I have to look it up.
No, but don't spoil yourself. You're almost there. So,
Spoil myself for what? The Lone Gunman? I'm not watching that.
well, and they might have died on the X Files. I don't know. So,
Eh.
well, I mean, that's a decent attempt to spin it off anyway. But see, you cannot make supporting characters main characters. They
I
doesn't
mean, I
work.
understand like the Lone Gunman. Like I know that fans liked them, but you're not Mulder and Scully.
Right.
Well, like you just can't. It wouldn't work.
Right. Well,
Obviously, it didn't.
It didn't.
It bombed.
Did you ever watch Freaky Links?
Why does that?
That was a show on Fox like around the same time.
Yeah.
And
I remember-
and I want to say he crossed over with the Lone Gunman, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I kind of think you're right.
And then it only lasted like
So terrible.
not even a full season. But yeah, I think the public reception to this will be good, because the X Files it lasted long enough where people knew it was a thing.
Yep.
It had a couple movies and I think the average person looks back on it fondly. It didn't flame out like Heroes did. And Heroes is kind of a joke, I think, to the average. But whatever happened to that show? God, it's stupid. It's if you ask somebody about Heroes. But you ask somebody about X Files, you're like, oh yeah, okay. So I mean, I think this will be more well received than say Heroes Reborn, because there's a lot of bad blood to overcome. With
Yes,
that. And
I
think
agree.
I think the X Files has a lot more casual fans like me and my dad, who would be like, oh yeah, let me check that out. That's cool.
I would totally watch that. I remember watching it as a
And we don't have a lot of oh my god, I can't believe they did in season 8 and 9. I mean, I
Oh,
remember
totally.
that he left, but it doesn't it doesn't. The show never pissed me off. I'm never gonna watch this crap again. So, what I do like about the X Files is it wasn't just the aliens, because I like all this stuff. I find it all very fascinating, and I like how there's okay, you get your lake monster episode here, you get your vampires here, you get your aliens here, you get your government conspiracy there. It's a good mix, and that's why it was just so sustainable. Because if it was just one thing the whole time, it would definitely had a lot shorter shelf life. So I hope they embrace some of that. I know they only have 6 episodes to work with, but I hope we get some variety.
Me too. I think you can say a lot without taking a long time on the air.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they will. I mean, I wonder are they just trying to I don't know. Oh, apparently, Davis is not dead. William B. Davis is the cigarette smoking man.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought he
Oh,
was
I
dead.
know that, Nancy. God, no.
I didn't. I thought that I'd read about him. Someone from the cast died. I don't remember who.
Oh, it was
Who was it?
I know who it was, but it was just a guy. It was just one of his guys.
It wasn't Well Manicured Man, was it?
I don't know. It was one of the guys hanging out with CSM.
Yeah, the Syndicate.
Yeah.
Someone in there. Like William B. Davis says.
I thought his character died.
Well, right. Davis told CBC hopes it doesn't start where the original series left off with his character dead, instead going back to an earlier time. Do they take the story as far as it went and continue from there? Which I hope not, because I'm dead.
He was always such a cool bad guy. Just
so good. And
yeah.
he was just meant to be like a one-off character.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting. And I'm also glad he wasn't Mulder's father, because that was stupid.
Well, they did have they tried to bait and switch.
I'm your father, Fox. It's like, no, you're not.
You actually are not. Well, they did kind of. Well, did you ever watch that episode where it's the musings of the cigarette smoking man? That's the title of the episode, I believe.
Oh, that's good. See, X-Files has such good titles.
Oh, it's the best titles. I'll never forget. I was friends. I would race home if I was out somewhere and I had to come home and record it on my VCR. I was tearing through all my tapes and looking at the crumbling whiteout with where I had written the names of the episodes and stuff because I got it from the paper. Wow, it makes me sound like an old person, and that was really not that.
Oh no, I always
ago.
do that. See, the thing about Star Trek was they used to show the titles of the episodes on the screen.
Oh, they didn't do that with.
Yeah. No, I swear, no other show does that.
No, you had to look it up.
I'm like, why not? Because Smallville, The Flash, Arrow, whatever, right? It's like they got some cool titles. Smallville had a thing where it was just one word titles, which is cool for a while. But then you get to the end of the series and they're just grasping. They're using synonyms for words they've already used, and But I mean, Star Trek titles like City on the Edge of Forever, right? Or Return to Tomorrow, or at least cool titles like that, right? And then the X-Files, or Jose Chung's From Outer Space. I remember that one.
Oh, that is
book,
widely considered the best episode.
And I love how they could do comedy like that too. Not a lot of good genre shows do comedy well.
Do you remember watching Clyde Bruckman's Final Response?
What happens in that?
It was Peter Boyle's episode. You would remember.
No, I guess not.
Definitely, I think that's one of the other ones that's considered one of the best episodes.
I remember random titles of episodes. Home.
Oh my gosh!
What a fucked up episode was that?
Oh, God. Only aired once on.
What was the guy? It was the guy. There was an episode. It was the guy's name, and he got abducted by aliens, and he was crazy or something.
I don't know.
It was a season finale or something. I don't know.
Yes, Dwayne Barry.
That's it. Dwayne Barry. All right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
damn
nostalgia's taking over.
Damn it! You're making me want to go back and and even watching them now as more of an adult than I was when I just binge watched them constantly in college. Even the bad episodes, I have such a tender spot for.
Oh yeah, no, I feel the same way.
Good.
It's because I watched all these Star Trek shows when I was a kid. Now you go back and watch them as an adult, and you have a whole new set of. It's so true. Art. Depending on where you are in life, art speaks to you in different ways, So
it is.
It's very fascinating to revisit things like that. So,
it's just things that I thought were funny and I liked. I mean, I still like those things, but a lot of times, dialogue that maybe I didn't quite get when I was a kid is hilarious now. The nuance of their just everything about their relationship is so well written.
Yeah,
so good. Yeah, so I don't know. I would love for it to be a standalone, kind of like William B. Davis here. I mean, it's kind of they are pretty much in the best position they could be in because they can place those episodes almost anywhere as long as they fashion Jillian's hair correctly according to what her Scully was wearing.
They look pretty good. They still look pretty good. So.
Yeah, they look pretty great.
Yeah.
Probably, I think realistically, it will be after.
Oh yeah, it has to be. I mean, they did. Yeah. I'll tell you one. I always Star Trek is always my go-to, but it's a good comparison.
Yeah.
They did an episode, the series finale of Enterprise, which I've not seen for many of the same reasons you have not watched the end of the X-Files.
Yeah.
They had it take place inside a Next Generation episode where they're on the holodeck.
What?
And it's stupid. And so they dress Riker and Troy back like they were on Next Gen. But the problem was that was 15 years previously. And it's what are you doing? they look a lot older. You know, I mean, it's like, no offense to them, people age, but you could have just put them in the movie uniforms and had them be on like the Enterprise E or whatever, right? But no, you had to put them in this Next Generation episode, and so like it was very obvious. So I would that's because like this is there's something not right here.
Yes.
You know, because you can tell. So I really wouldn't want them to try and like hide like, hey, this is the season 6 era or some bullshit. You know, I wouldn't think that's a good idea. I don't think they should try that. They should just move forward with the story because you want more. You want a continuation. You don't want like the untold stories. You know, you want a continuation. So, all right, it's been a lot of fun talking about the X-Files with you, Nancy, and I'm excited to revisit it when I get to that point. So, as I'm sure you are excited to actually finish the show for yourself.
Yes.
And yeah, we're there's not a definite time, I don't think, when these new episodes are going to come. Is it this year? Is it next year? Did it say? I don't even remember.
Didn't say. I'm pretty sure it's next year because I think they're going to start filming this summer.
You heard it here first, folks. We do not know. So we'll. But yeah, I think 9 years is a long time to catch up on something. So, but
so now you've got time. They're not going to come out for a couple months. So if you've not watched them, now's your chance. Get on Netflix.
That's right. Well, I'm sure it'll be up there for a while.
Oh, I'm sure. There was like scuttlebutt last month or something about like, oh no, Netflix might pull the X-Files episodes, and I'm sure there was a collective cry that went up on social media like, no.
So yeah, no, I will definitely be rewatching them soon, and we'll have more updates about the X-Files as they come. So hopefully we'll get some new characters, get some new old characters coming in.
Yes.
Doggett back, Reyes.
To see who's coming back. I don't know. See, I don't know. What happens at the end? Like, what happens
Doggett
with them?
dies. I'm not sure.
Oh, yay! Really?
Oh, come on, Robert Patrick, man, give the guy. He did a great job in T2. And
you're talking about Terminator, not the X-Files.
And it took him another like 15 years to get back on TV on that Scorpion or whatever that show he's on now.
Oh, God,
I like Robert Patrick, and he always he played. Not only did he play Johnny Cash's dad in Walk the Line, he also played Elvis's dad in a TV movie about Elvis. So. He's kind of got the market cornered on that
dad.
kind of thing. Yeah.
he looks like this stern, like, I'm going to send you to military school dad.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he plays the part well. So, anyway.
Okay, we'll see.
Looking forward to rewatching and revisiting. Nostalgia. I'm, like, overcome with nostalgia now about the X-Files. So exciting. So, it's nice to feel this way when something you love comes back after a long time. Because usually as nerds, we don't. We instantly hate it. We're like, what are they doing? Leave it alone. So.
That's so true.
We don't need 3 Hobbit movies. So, X-Files, good on you, Chris Carter. Just don't let us down. So,
yeah, I would just hope that they would make them good. Make them count, please.
Absolutely. All right, well, we don't break the news, but we do break it down. Excited to talk about the Millennium coming back?
Oh, God. At least it's not that, right? I mean...
That was weird,
this
because
news could have been really bad.
like, they had, they had that crossover. They had a couple crossover episodes, didn't they? And,
yeah.
But did you ever watch Millennium, like the show?
I know that I did, but I really don't have a recollection of it.
Like, I remember he was a Frank Hendrickson or whatever. He was like a psychic, I think. But he had a little girl, like a daughter. And then if I recall, like the end of the second season, like the world ended or something. and he had gray hair, and it was like this like big dramatic thing. And then he came back for the third season. Everything was like back to normal. I probably missed something. I probably missed an episode or something there. But somebody hit the reset button on that. And it didn't last. I think it only lasted 3 seasons. But they were trying to spin off the X-Files back then. So.
Well, and at the time it was a good idea, right? It made sense.
And then the X-Files became its own spin-off in seasons 8 and 9. But that's another story.
It really is. I don't know how much of a controversial opinion that is for me. I mean, for other people, I don't really know. Like
what?
The people that I talk about X-Files with are online. Or... I don't think I've hardly ever talked about X-Files with like other X-Files fans in person. So I don't really know. I haven't looked for opinions.
Yeah, see, that was before. We were still kids, when that was on. on TV. So it was like kind of before you can just like, oh, I'm gonna log onto the message board tomorrow and see what everybody thought of the episode of the X-Files. So now it's just like,
or there was just the one message board. That
yeah, the message board.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get on AIM.
Yeah. That was when people were still like typing complete sentences. There was no lol speak.
Proper grammar.
Yeah.
Man, I had two AIM names. My first one was George Z. Lucas, which is pretty good, I thought. And then no spaces. The Z was capital, everything else was lowercase. And then I ended up, that was like before I kind of fell in with you guys, do my own thing, And then I guess I was reinventing my online identity, and I was Remembered Titan, and that was my live journal as well. Because Remember the Titans is one of my favorite movies.
I do kind of remember that.
And were you? Now I'm bad. Now I'm bad friend. I don't think I ever talked to you on AIM. By the way, I don't
think I talked to you either. But
we had a few degrees of separation between us and our group of friends at the time.
We did.
But were you like a fairy in there or something, or what? Aramore, was it Lord of the Rings or what?
No, Aramore was always Haley's bag. I'm
sure it was some like
what
fantasy
was the name
related.
Of my live journal?
What was your live journal?
It was. It's sure it was. I'm thinking. I know my AIM name was from an anime. It was Night Saber Nene.
Oh, okay.
Like
maybe that was your live journal too.
That could have been my live journal. I found it once,
mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking like, "Oh, I'll read these entries and laugh," and it was really just like read these entries and cringe, and then try to recover my password, and then delete it.
Did you delete it? Really?
No, I couldn't figure out how to recover my password.
I kind of like that stuff is still there. It's funny how a lot of people have gone back and deleted their live journal. So
but they didn't really delete it.
Right. It's always out there. But like, if you like people like us who still have it like active, like if you click on those names, like it says this user no longer exists.
Yep.
And you're in these big chain conversations, and like big chunks of it are missing and stuff. So.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to find that.
No, the best thing about this isn't really live journal, but you know how I made that that Super Nerds website back in the day. I don't think you. Were you on it?
No, I don't. Maybe
no,
I don't know.
You guys were not there because we took all those pictures that day, and I photoshopped. I think I was gonna make you Batgirl, like Oracle Batgirl, and then Travis was gonna be like the Flash, Wally West. That's what Lance told me that worked out well. But
aw, I'm touched.
There you go.
Thank you, Lance. Even though you're not here,
he's here. He's here in spirit. One day, Lance, you'll never hear this, Lance. No, but no. Lance is mad that still exists because people Google his name. It's him as Batman. I was like, hey man, you're in a mask. Can't tell it's you. But apparently if you go Google Lance Laster, everyone, check it out, see what's out there. So Steve is a Plastic Man on there, of course. So he was a big Plastic Man. He was in a Plastic Man phase at the time. So
my goodness.
And I'm various iterations of Superman. And it's funny to see who's who on that. So we actually got cool people to participate in that. People thought it was cool, believe it or not, back in the day. So
it is cool, and of course now that it's popular, people are like, "What? Oh,
yeah, we did it before. It was before Big Bang Theory."
Let's not. Oh my god.
BBBD. Or
I'm meaning to tell you, you've seen that preview. I know you have that trailer for the movie Home, the DreamWorks movie.
Oh, with Jim Parsons as the purple people eater.
Yeah, just between for real. I do not understand why people like him so much. I don't have anything against
quirky.
him. Like I don't, as a person. Like I don't.
Abed is an infinitely better character.
Oh, I totally agree.
And he serves the same purpose, and he lives in the real world, and that's what makes him funny. Like
I don't like his voice because I feel like he's so like typecast. That's the only thing that he does.
Well, I hate all those commercials. He's like, oh, you know what's awesome? Technology. Because one day you can go up to a door and it'll open, and let me tell you about it. Like it's like what are you selling me? I don't know. Whatever. But,
yeah.
That show's got what's it, like the 8th season or something?
God, how does it still have legs?
It keeps adding female characters. See, if you seriously, it started as like these 3 guys that live together, or like 2 guys and their 2 friends or whatever. Some combination of 4 losers, right? According to the show, right? And the hot girl across the hall, right? Who lives by herself, apparently. Because they have to be roommates because they're scientists. But this goofy actress can afford an apartment by herself. And then they just add, I swear they add a female character every couple of years. They added Blossom, and then they added this other girl,
I do not know.
Well, anyway, Blossom's actually on the talk show that I worked on. Her name's Blossom, but she's the weird chick that God, play Jim Parsons. Leonard, not Leonard's the main character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
he is.
Leonard is God, what? Sheldon. Okay, Sheldon's
Yes.
girlfriend. That's who the Blossom is. She was an actress from a TV show called Blossom back in the day. Apparently, it was news to me, but it was a big deal.
Okay.
And then they added another character who was to be a girlfriend for one of the other guys. You know, so it's like, okay, I see what you're doing, but I mean, until that show will go until one of the cast leaves. You know, I think it's.
Oh yeah.
It's like the modern equivalent of Friends, I guess, to people. I mean, if you go around on the street,
that's terrible.
It's true though. If you go around on the street like this, because 2.5 Men just is a shame. You know, that really burned out. You know, flamed out, and that was really the only equivalent to, like, you know, the sitcom. You know what I mean? There's not really a lot of sitcoms around anymore.
That's really true.
Because The Office was different. The Office kind of flamed out too, but The Office is different. And then, of course, Community is different. And I don't know, watching
Speaking
the
of
other
which,
garbage on NBC.
have you watched any of the new episodes?
I have not. As you know, I kind of had a busy last couple weeks, but I was waiting for that. Yeah, so that's all kind of settled down now. So I was gonna get now. That I think they come out on Wednesday. So they come out.
Yes.
So I guess the third one came out today. So I'll have to.
There already were 3 when we watched them yesterday.
Oh, well then.
So maybe they
came
released
out. Maybe they
2
came
at
out
once?
Tuesday. Well, I know that the first week they had 2, and then they're gonna take it from there.
I
So.
guess that's what it is then.
Were they good?
I thought they were good.
Okay, good. I had
They
Lance
were
watched them
funny.
too. I hadn't
We
watched
were
them
laughing the whole time, so that's pretty
a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. I like who they added. I was really apprehensive when they were like, "Well, Shirley's not going to be on the show." I'm like, "What? Like, you need a personality like Shirley," but I think they did a good job of covering for that.
If they keep their pace of losing one character a season, I'm glad it's going to stop at 6 seasons.
Thank God. Yeah, right. Exactly. Do you think they're going to make a movie though? Charles and I were debating that yesterday.
They have to. It's a self-fulfilling
Surely they can
prophecy.
crowdfund it.
if Veronica Mars can get a movie like 10 years after it got canceled or whatever, which I never saw. Never really watched that show, by the way. Although I'm a big Kristen Bell fan, she has a horrible agent. Terrible movies all the time. Other than Forgetting Sarah Marshall, she's not in any good movies.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, great movie. One of the best comedies.
So
but all the other movies are terrible. But
that's true.
Yeah,
except for Frozen, I guess.
But you know, that's true.
Yeah.
But if that can get a movie, Community the fans will make it happen. So
big time.
It'll be like Netflix Direct or whatever. They'll come up with something. So. And then it'll be over, and they can get everybody back. They can get Chevy Chase back. Pierce faked his death or something. That's a very Pierce thing to do. And then you can get, Childish Gambino can clear schedule for a few days, and Troy.
Yes,
and
oh yeah, well, I like Childish Gambino's music. It's just I wish they didn't have to leave the show.
Yeah, well,
do it.
I like his stand up. I mean, he's only done that.
Yeah, he's funny too.
He's only done that one stand up as far as I found. But
Yeah.
I wish he would do more because he's hilarious. But you just get everybody back.
Yep. I agree.
Oh, is Abed's girlfriend in this season?
She hasn't shown up yet.
Oh.
But they make a lot of, you know how it goes, a lot of meta references in the first episode. Abed's like, why are there all these loose ends that aren't being tied up? And then he tries to have montages at inappropriate times. It's good.
Best character on television, for sure. Abed Nadir.
I do like Abed. Oh, and then they have like great race jokes where Abed and Chang's like, should Abed and I be worried? A person of color is missing. It's pretty good. And then like the person that replaces her is white. It's pretty funny.
That's funny.
No, it's good. It feels pretty snappy. It feels like the good Community before it was kind of rocky.
Yeah, it's been hit or miss, but on the whole, it's still Community. So.
I agree. Yeah, it feels like it feels like more connected. Like they actually know what they're doing instead of just like throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Well, I felt like season 2 is like still considered good and stuff, but I feel like the beginning of season 2 was kind of like that. They're like,
Yes.
now we're going on the KFC van, and now we're going here, and now we're going to do this movie, and now we're going to do that movie.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
when you do a show about community college, it's have to run the ideas quick. So, but anyway,
they have managed to come up with some more. I'll be curious to see what you think. I'm interested in your opinion. You should report back.
yeah, we should do an episode on Community.